Damn. So seems like Drake has taken yet another L regarding this whole lawsuit against UMG. Just quite unfortunate for him, to be honest. Like, it's just, bro has not been looking the same since June of 2024. So I wanted to react to this video, kind of talking about it, and then kind of just giving my thoughts on the whole situation as well. So yeah, let's get into it. I'm gonna be very straight to the point on this.
Because his so Drake just took a big loss against his own record label because his federal defamation suit against Universal Music Group has been thrown out of court. So I know Kendrick Lamar's camp is like, wow. So according to reports, the judge ruled, quote, the allegedly defamatory statements in the song Not Like Us are non-actionable. It's an opinion. In other words, Drake can't sue for defamation over song lyrics. That's what they're saying. And in dismissing the lawsuit, the judge said that even accusations of criminal behavior are not actionable if understood in context. So they're an opinion rather than a fact. So, and then the fact that allegations are part of a diss track, it's not a news report, means the average person would not take it as a fact. Therefore, you can't sue.
Wow. You know what?
So okay, just hearing those words, I do think the judge definitely has a point, right? Like, it's not as if Kendrick Lamar is like a renowned journalist that's known for their research and hard hitting evidence, right? Like, he doesn't have like the same ethos and reputation as like a reporter for like CNN or Fox News, or I guess maybe not those two companies, but you know what I mean. So I can definitely understand from that standpoint. I definitely wouldn't agree that any reasonable person wouldn't take it as fact, right? Like, we obviously see all the PDF jokes that gets labeled at Drake. Whether you view that as fair or not fair isn't not really the point in this specific scenario, right? Like, there's obviously things that people point to for why people have those assumptions in the first place. I know there was like the whole controversy with Drake and a certain like kick streamer that would, I think, like go after like teenage girls or something like that. I forgot her name, but she was like from Canada. Obviously, there was that time where he like kissed some 17-year-old at his concert before he asked for her age and found out that she was actually underage. So there's definitely more than enough questionable things for people to come to that conclusion, or at least make those jokes at his expense. But yeah, I don't know if I would just go as far as to say that a reasonable person would not make that accusation of Drake based off of that song. But I still do agree, though, that ultimately the song in and of itself is art, is an opinion. So it's not Kendrick stating that to be a fact, or at least Kendrick Lamar is played up to the character of him saying that in the context of them having a rap beef, as opposed to going out to an interview, or you're stating in a book or stating in a social media post as Kendrick Lamar, the person that, yeah, I think Drake is a PDF. So I definitely do think those two things are quite distinctive. So that is something to have to keep in mind.
Salute this judge for the accuracy. You know,
the court also noted that Kendrick's A Pedophile line was a direct callback to Drake's lyrics in his previous diss track, Taylor Made Freestyle. Guys, this is not what Drake wanted.
Of course not. Yo, I was going to say, because the line, he says specifically, say Drake, I hear like I'm young. That's an opinion. Once he goes into the pedophile, he doesn't say Drake's name per se. That's just lines. So this sounds like you could dance around it.
Sometimes
I'm saying that Drake is appealing, but
sometimes I think I block it out of my memory that Drake really went to court over this, because it's so insane.
It was such a sucker move.
I definitely do agree there too. It's just like, bro, how are you going to involve yourself in a rap beef, and you're trying to position yourself as the top rap guy, as the guy that other rappers should be looking up to, and then you lose said beef, and then you decide to go to court about it. It definitely feels corny, especially given the ethos of the music genre that you're in, right? Like, and I saw people making jokes about how Drake has lost the battle both the legal way and the non-legal way in terms of like going both avenues. And I think that probably just goes a long way towards, I don't know, kind of maybe exposing a bit of his fragility in that sense. Because, if Drake really wanted to rebound from this, all he needed to do was just put out good music. Which I know sounds stupid, but genuinely, people have the attention spans of goldfish. I swear to you, if he put out a banger rap song that everyone loved in the last 13 months instead of doing this nonsense, people would have forgotten about this. Right? Obviously, people talk about like Jay-Z and Nas and how Nas destroyed him as well. But like Jay-Z still put out good music after that, and generally people don't really think about it. So, and Drake is a big enough artist that this wouldn't need to be something he needs to dwell on. Like genuinely, I think he's done more of a job of keeping this specific instance of his career in the limelight than anybody else has. Because I swear to you, if he just moved on from it and just took the L on the chin and just pretended like it didn't happen, people would have moved on by now. And definitely he has enough fans and Glazers that he could have basically just blocked it out of his memory.
I'm glad this got thrown out.
Oh, and also by doing what he's done, he's pretty much just proven his detractors right by doing it this way. So, I'm curious as to see what is Drake's move going to be now.
Oh. Yo, bro, you got personal. You made up stuff about him too. You just don't like the way that he did it with you, and I get why. Like I'm not saying I fully defend Kendrick's pedophile stuff. I did think some of it was OD and maybe not ideal, but Drake is always the one who wants to get crazy personal first.
This is true as well. You cannot dismiss that, because even Drake wanted to talk about Kendrick and him allegedly committing DV on his wife or his girlfriend, right? Whereas Kendrick, even in his initial song, warned about keeping it quote unquote on rap. And I think the mistake that Drake made is by not doing that, you've given Kendrick all of the moral high ground in this beef, right? Because I think if Drake keeps it around rap, hell, if he even just keeps about how like I'm a bigger star than you, I have more sales than you, right? Like if Kendrick then tries to pivot it into being about moral and ethics and him being a PDF and all that, then Drake at least has the grounds to stand and be like, whoa, like you're shifting this into a whole different direction. Like this is supposed to be a exercise in rapping sport. And he could probably spin the PR in a way to get people on his side by doing it that way. But by him being the one to escalate to this personal level, it gives very playground bully where it's like, you can't do that. And then once the fire that you started, burns you and burns down your house, you're now then crying to the fireman about how you didn't, you don't like fires. You started this. You escalated this. Well, okay, maybe not started, because I know they've been sending subliminals and stuff to each other for years, but you escalated it to this point where it didn't need to get here. And then now it's come back on you and blown up in your face. And now you're upset about it. So it just comes off, making him look petty and childish.
So you reap what you sow. And after it happened, you ran to the refs and started crying. And now they threw out your case. It looks terrible. The only redeeming thing that could have helped for Drake, and I don't know if it would have helped, is if he'd won the lawsuit.
Which would have been horrible, to be honest. It's so horrible for hip hop.
It would not have helped. Like the other guy just said, if Drake had won that lawsuit, he basically would have become a pariah in the world of hip hop. At least, in the more what's it looking for, authentic culture of hip hop, right? Like I'm sure he'd still be able to release music. I'm sure a lot of his fans would still, love him and support him, and I'm sure the casuals wouldn't care. But the audience of people that kind of gatekeep what real hip hop is supposed to be, quote unquote, those people would never ever respect him ever again. Hell, they might not even right now, but they definitely sure as hell won't if he had gone through and successfully won this lawsuit. And I think if he had won this lawsuit, that would have set a precedent for how you're allowed to deal with, disses and other rap beef going forward, which I think would have just which I think could have helped kind of, I don't know, disintegrate and corrode kind of the integrity of hip hop culture even more in terms of like the ethics of what you are and aren't supposed to do when it comes to conducting yourself in rap in general, and obviously beefing with other people.
It would have been a bad look no matter what, but at least it would have justified his claims in some way. But now you got it thrown out too.
You can't. You trying to change the dynamic of hip hop battles.
What part of the game is this?
We never seen nothing like that.
We've never seen anything like this.
And apparently the judge didn't either. So he was like, "Get out of here."
Oh my God!
And I'm happy.
The judge was like, in the judge's ruling, he was like, "Can you imagine if LL and Kool Moe came to me during their battle?"
Right. You know what I'm saying? It's like
the judge actually got up there, Shawnee, and said, "Cannabis never once tried to go to court." The judge said that.
Ever. And there were all types of slanderous remarks in those songs.
You want to know who really could have went to court?
Who?
Remember the Dre Day video? The way they played everybody in the Dre Day video? Eazy-E? They had the actor playing Eazy-E dancing on the street with a sign that said, "Will rap for food."
Yo, it was crazy. It was crazy.
That was
crazy. You know what I'm saying? Yo, look, when Jay-Z said, "You was a little ballerina, I seen you," he didn't see him himself. Right. You know what I'm saying? He saw pictures. Look, bro.
He saw a picture and he wasn't a ballerina.
Yeah. Come on, fam. Prodigy had a case, but he didn't run to the courts.
Oh, man, guys, this is...
Yo, come on, man. Not good.
Not good, bro.
Whew,
I'm glad hip hop is back.
But just know, Shawnee, Drake is appealing, so...
What? Yo, let it go, bro.
No, this guy is actually crazy. I did not know he's about to appeal this ruling. Who's he going to appeal to? Like the federal courts? Because I know this took place in New York. To be fair though, I respect the stubbornness, bro. Because I feel like maybe he's just at a point now where he's like, I'm already in too deep, and we're already kind of screwed anyway. Like, so I need to get something out of this. Kind of like what's it called? What's that meme with Denzel Washington where he's like, I'm leaving here with something, like kind of like that. But yeah, I'm seeing this is true. Yeah, he does intend to appeal according to his spokesperson. Let's see, what do they have to say regarding this? Okay, so they haven't really, I guess, according to this article, they haven't really gone into detail just exactly what they're going to do. Yeah, but no, it's crazy. It's really crazy how shit just changes. And I think this entire case is this entire saga, so to speak, should be like a lesson on really making sure you can control the conflicts that you find yourself in. Because like everyone said earlier, if Drake had just kept this to rap, if Drake didn't respond to like that, if Drake wasn't out here sending subliminals, if Drake could be secure in his place in hip hop, despite not having the quote unquote diehards, but still building a great repertoire for himself, he wouldn't find himself in this situation. But unfortunately, he couldn't. And now he's finding himself having to double, triple down in a way that might just sour his legacy forever. I mean, obviously the jury's still out, no pun intended. So we'll see just what the fallout of this is going to be long term. But as of right now, it's just definitely not a good look.